Well, Rugby League is back in Coventry and the Bears are back with a bang, opening their season with a 28-4 victory at home to the West Wales Raiders, and we've got all the reaction from it. This is the world's greatest podcast about the Coventry Bears. This is Bears Necessities. Yes, welcome to Bears Necessities, your podcast all about the Coventry Bears. We live at covbearspodcast.com. We're at covbearspodcast on Twitter. You can find us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and we're sponsored by York's Tim. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Musson. Sat next to me in a slowly emptying Butts Park Arena after the first game of the season is my co-host, Craig Cathcart. Craig, job done, professionally done from the Bears, a good win?
Very good professional performance from the Bears. Very happy with the performance. The first game of the season is always difficult. It's hard to get your rhythm going, hard to get your set plays going and everything else. But the guys did what they needed to do, scored when they needed to, and played really well overall.
So coming up on today's show, we'll bring you all the reaction from that victory against the West Wales Raiders. We'll hear from Bears head coach Tom Tsang, and all being well, we will hear from the supporters, man of the match Hayden Freeman, and also something a bit different later in the show. Craig has done an excellent interview with one of the guys behind the New Ravens Masters Rugby League team, which is helping spread the game in the Midlands and letting players of a more mature vintage still play the game, shall we say. So that's coming up later in the show. But first, let's run through the story of this game. The Bears were in control for most of the match. They perhaps didn't have as much possession as the Raiders, but when Bears did get possession, they did more with it, and they really got things going with a quick-fire double try from Hayden Freeman. First of all, Hayden got the ball on halfway, put in a sidestep, created a gap and went for it, and scored in the corner, and Nick Newman converted from the corner to make it 6-0. And then a couple of minutes later, when West Wales were in a dangerous position and attacking the Bears line, Hayden intercepted a pass on his own 10-metre line, and you're not catching him in a sprint the length of the pitch, so he went under the post to score, and that was 12-0. It became a little bit scrappy and a little bit nervous from both sides for the rest of the first half after that, but the Bears put themselves in a really good position just before half-time when fullback Elliot Hall scored an excellent try. Nathan Conroy again making a step on his own 40 metres to make a break, ran through, set up a 2-on-1 and put Elliot Hall in under the posts. The conversion was nailed again for an 18-0 scoreline, which is how it was at half-time. And there, in the second half, Bears really wrapped up the victory. Excellent try from Jacob Jones, some nice handling, got the ball to Nick Newman, who made a break, and he again drew the 2-on-1. It was a simple finish for Jacob. Conversion was good, that took it to 24-0, and then not long after that, Dante Morley-Samuels, who come off the interchange bench, he was the beneficiary of a quick ball being moved left through the hands from Conroy to Jones and into Dante, and he scored in the corner. Conversion wasn't able to be added by Nick Newman on that occasion. That took it to 28-0. And that looked like it might have stayed that way for the rest of the game, but West Wales did get one on the board late on. Some good handling from them. Slightly questionable pass as to whether it was forward or not, but they did finish it well in the corner. They weren't able to convert, and that was 28-4. That was the final score. 526 people saw it, cracking attendance for the first game. Let's hear now for the thoughts of Bears head coach Tom Tsang. So Tom, new season's underway and you've got a win under your belt, so you must be pleased with that.
Yeah, very pleased. The game itself, I thought we played pretty much, we played well and at times very well, but I thought we pushed the pass too much. Our error rate was quite high. Luckily we defended well off the back of that and worked really hard. Every time we made an error, we worked hard to force the ball back into our possession, which was a positive, but we need to hold on to the ball a lot better than we have done. But the tries that we scored were great, very well taken, good execution on a couple of them. So yeah, all in all, it's a positive day for us.
And very clinical as well, because you didn't really have anywhere near as much ball as West Wales did, but when you did have it, you seemed to do something with it. It kind of shows what we've been talking about previously, about this consistency between last year's squad and this year's squad, and the fitness work you've been doing. It already feels like, compared to this point last season, you're much further ahead than you were last year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like I said, today we just pushed that pass a little bit. We had quite a lot of space on the edges, and so probably our outside backs just tried to score every time we had the ball, basically. And if you're pushing that last pass to try and get the tries there, then there's an opportunity for the ball to go on the floor, and that's what happened a couple of times. So I think we just need to have a bit more control. We need to be a bit more composed when we're attacking, and understand that the shapes that we're running, we're not trying to score every single time we get the ball, and every time we run them, we're just trying to create opportunities for the next play, and try and build pressure and put the defence under pressure, and make their defence move around and ask a lot of questions. I think at times we got carried away a little bit, but as a first game, I'm very happy with that, with getting the 2 points and moving on to next week.
Was it disappointing at all to not keep West Wales out for the full 80? Because it did look at one point like you were going to get the nil. Yeah,
I can't really tell you what the words that came out of my mouth at the time, but wasn't happy at all that we conceded late on. I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think West Wales deserved to get on the scoreboard. How well we defended and how much pressure we put on them. So to just switch off for that one play, basically, because through the set leading up to that. The try, we'd actually defended quite well, and it's just that one play that we switched off on that left edge was quite disappointing. But the game had already gone at that point, and I think we can just look at that on the video and see where we need to improve, and that was the benefit of today as well. I think we could have got a bit more. We could have got a few more points on the board if we'd have held onto the ball, but if we'd have done that, that doesn't really help us improve. All that does is inflate our ego, which we don't need. We need direction on where we need to improve, and that's what we've got now.
Were there any particular standout performers for you today? I know the supporters picked Hayden Freeman as their man of the match, but anyone else that caught your eye?
Yeah, Hayden was very good. The 2 tries scored in the first half really helped us at that point, because obviously the Raiders were running really, really hard onto the ball, and they were putting pressure on us, and for him to score those 2 tries basically out of nothing really took that pressure off us. So that was excellent from him. I thought Nathan Conroy was probably our best. I thought he controlled the ruck really well. He got us going forward, and every time there was a sniff of a quick play of the ball, he was off and making 20, 30 metres every time, looking for the offload. Also, I thought Will Tully and I thought Kieran Sherratt, when they came off the bench, really lifted us and sped our play up. But across the board, there was every player that played had good touches, some more than others, but generally speaking, everyone should be pretty pleased with their performance.
And the only worrying thing I saw was Cam Pearce-Paul coming off injured in the second half. What's the news on him? Is it a bad injury, or is he likely to return next week?
He picked up a knee injury in training this week, and he passed a fitness test before the game, and I think it was just a reoccurrence of that, but I don't think it's anything too serious. It was more of a collision injury rather than a twist or anything like that, so fingers crossed he gets some good recovery tonight and through the week, and is an option again next weekend.
And a quick word on West Wales. I mean, from watching from the stands, they definitely seem like they're an improved team on what we saw in League One last year, and they seem more organised. They seem like they've got a bit of fire in them as well. How do you see them going this year?
I 100% agree. I think they are, even on the first game, they're better than they ever were last year. I think they've got some guys that are really, really enthusiastic, got great attitudes, very aggressive, some of them. So that's always a good trait. They're looking in decent shape. So I think if they can just sort of, similar to ourselves really, if they can just control the ball a little bit better, then they'll have some good periods in games. I think defensively they've obviously got we exposed a few things to them around the ruck, but I think that's something that they will look to fix up pretty quickly, and I think they'll be pretty competitive. But the main thing is, and it's a difficult thing because we've been there ourselves, and obviously Raiders were last year, is just trying to keep that motivation to keep picking yourself up each week if you're not quite getting the result. So I wish them all the best.
And just lastly, Newcastle are in Coventry next week for second game of the season. How are you going to be preparing for that? Is it going to be a different test to what you've had today, I imagine?
Yeah, completely different. I think, in all honesty, no disrespect to Raiders, but if we play next week how we played today, then we won't get the win because we turned over too much ball and we didn't respect it enough. The main focus for us will be to keep the attacking shape that we were trying to use, but just controlling the ball a little bit better and managing when we offload, when we don't. If we can manage to do that, then I think we'll be very competitive. But it's always a difficult and dangerous proposition playing a team that's favoured to do well, that's coming off the back of a loss because they're wanting to bounce back. They're wanting to prove that the previous loss was just a blip. So I'm expecting Newcastle to be really fired up and wanting to put a statement across to the rest of the league that they do mean business and they are serious. So it's going to be a tough game, but we've got areas we know to improve, and if we do that, then we'll be there or thereabouts.
So for Tom, congratulations on the win today, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
So many thanks to Tom Tsang for joining us on the podcast. So Craig, 28-4 victory. So you were closer in your prediction in terms of Bears winning. There's definitely areas for the Bears to improve on.
Yeah.
But positive to get the win on the board, and they were clinical when they had the ball, which I think was the crucial difference.
Yeah, that's the crucial difference. The Bears were a bit rusty at times, made a few mistakes, which meant both teams, to be fair, made mistakes. It meant the game was scrappy at times. It didn't neither team could really get any fluency going. It was a bit of a war of attrition in the middle of the field at times, but the Bears, when they needed to be clinical, were clinical, scored the tries when they needed to, and as I said before, overall a really fantastic performance, really professional. Hayden Freeman took both his scores really well, and there was some really good tries as well. The third score from the Bears was fantastic. Nathan Conroy, what a break from dummy half, setting up Elliot Hall to score under the posts, and even the fourth try as well was really well worked. There's some really good stuff going on with the Bears lineup. Once they get things going and get into their rhythm in the upcoming games, they're going to be hard to stop for anyone in this league. I'm pretty certain of it.
And we could see evidence on the pitch today of what we've been talking about all throughout the off-season, that you could tell that there's a continuity between last year's team and this year's team. The Bears looked really well drilled, and you and I attended one of their pre-season fitness sessions at Toe to Toe Gym in Canley. They looked fit as well, don't they? They didn't look like they were going to be budged in defence. As the game went on, perhaps West Wales started to flag a bit. The Bears looked stronger as the second half went on. Again, really positive stuff to build on this victory as we go into Newcastle next week.
One thing as well to say is West Wales did keep going right to the very end. They scored late on in the game to get points on the board. Bears will probably be disappointed they didn't get a nil. It looked throughout the whole of the game, apart from a couple of bits of pressure early on in the first half, apart from a couple of bits of pressure, West Wales didn't really look like they were going to score, but they did keep going and they give it a good go and they got their rewards at the end. The Bears, though, as you said, did look fit. Really, the interchanges as well. In years gone by, I think sometimes when the Bears have made an interchange, it's perhaps weakened the lineup, but every player that came on today made a massive difference. It was just a very, as I said, a really good all-round performance from everyone. The pack really worked hard. Half-back partnership looked good. Out wide as well, there was some really good handling as well from the Bears, and it looked, there's a lot of positives to come out of this game today, definitely. One thing to say about West Wales is I think they will definitely be more, based on what I've seen today, they'll definitely be more competitive this year in this division. They had a lot more grit up front. Definitely, that was obvious.
They looked more organised as well.
Yeah, they got rolled over when they came here last year. Today, they looked a lot more organised. They had a lot more grit in the backs as well. They had a lot more pace. A lot more. They tried a lot of set plays, some of which came off, some of which didn't. Their halfbacks looked decent as well. It was was a good performance from them, I would say, and certainly they'll surprise a few teams this year, I would have thought.
Yeah, and credit to them as well. They brought plenty of noisy supporters who added to the atmosphere, and 526 as an attendance. I think that's a really pleasing one, considering this is two expansionist teams who don't know anything about rugby league and nobody's interested in. I think that's a really real good statement.
That's a fantastic attendance today. I did think the stand looked full. It looked busy. There was, I was, to be honest, expecting probably 300 to 400, but to get that today was fantastic, and the fans enjoyed a very good game of rugby league.
Yeah, good. So in a moment, Craig and I will just pick out a few of our standout players. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, the supporters' man of the match was Hayden Freeman, who got 2 more tries to his record-breaking Bears try-scoring tally. And here's what he had to say when he received his man of the match award after the game. So Hayden, Supporters Club man of the match for the first game of the season, 2 tries. You must be pleased with your afternoon's work.
Yeah, it was a okay game. We showed a lot of momentum and stuff. We worked to our marks, but there was a few, like the last pass and stuff, we need a bit sharper really. Still a bit rough because it's the first few games, but round 1, a win, so we can't really grumble at that. So. And
your tries were both pretty impressive. That step for the first one, was that just instinct, or did you see a gap? Where did that come from?
Looked up, there was a gap, there was a forward in front of me, so I would back myself against the forward most times and just paced him really, and the rest is history. I just sprint and score. And the other one was the same really, interception. I was lucky I got the intercept really because it was an overlap, so I had to try and get the ball, and luckily it come to me and ran the pitch again.
And how did you like it being back on the wing? Because we've seen you on the centres the last few games. Did you enjoy being back on the wing?
I mean, the wing's good because you score tries and you get the ball for the carries, but I like the centre because you get the play a bit, you get more hands on the ball. But either, as long as I'm playing, I'm happy. So, and as you say, on the wing you get to score the tries, so you get all the glory.
Yeah. And next week, obviously Newcastle, slightly different challenge. You looking forward to sort of pitting yourself against, with all respect to West Wales, a better side, a side that's more likely to be at the top of the table at the end of the season?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've already spoke about it in the changing rooms. We know what we've got to do, and I think as long as we bring our game and we work on training what we went wrong today, I think we should be with a good shout, and we're looking to show up to win, so hopefully we get away with it.
Brilliant. Well done on man of the match today. Do it again next week, and hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers for that.
So Bears supporters man of the match, Hayden Freeman there. Craig, apart from Hayden, who you already mentioned took his tries very well, was there anyone else who stood out for you? I think for me, we mentioned him in a previous show, but Will Tully looked immense.
He's a giant of a man, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, absolutely massive. He got his shirt sleeve ripped off in the first carry, I think.
Yeah. So
he had a singlet on for the rest of the game, but
suited him, I thought.
Yeah, maybe he should do that for the rest of the season. But yeah, he was immense. Yeah.
Anybody else catch your eye?
Nathan Conroy at hooker. What a player he is. I mean, the amount of yards he made, he's an intelligent player. He made, he punished the Raiders a few times for mistakes. That third try was fantastic. His break from dummy half, where he ran a good 40 yards and then fed Elliott Hall, was just superb. He looks like the real deal. The real difference, I think, between what the Bears have been in the last 2 or 3 years and what they can be now. He really led the pack well as well. There's a lot of good solid runners in the Bears pack now, and he was superb. He's a really intelligent player and was fantastic, I thought. Other players as well, I think Kieran Sherratt as well, as he always is, was consistent, brilliant. Great running from him. Rhys Rance on the wing as well. Both wingers, to be fair, were brilliant today. And there was really across the whole pitch, there was a lot of solid performances. 1 or 2 mistakes, as I said earlier on, but that's just down to ring rustiness, not having played for a while, first game. I'm confident that this is a a very, very good squad. There's a lot of really good, solid players in this squad this year.
Yeah, lots of things to be positive about. So we'll leave our analysis of the game there for now, and we're going to move on now to the interview I mentioned at the top of the show. So Craig, this is one you did, chatting to one of the guys behind the New Ravens Masters Rugby League team. So New Ravens, this is kind of based over Worcestershire way, am I right in thinking?
Yes, yeah, they're based over in... Now you've put me on the spot. I can't remember the name of the club that they're based at, but it is in the interview. But yeah, the New Ravens Masters Rugby League is a lot of ex-players from Redditch
Halcyons,
yes, Halcyons, of which Mike Hyde,
Bears Matchday reporter.
Yeah, Bears Matchday reporter.
He was a founding member, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a founding member. So they are now associated with the New Ravens. They are planning a number of fixtures this year, and it looks really interesting. I have had a couple of invites to come and play. I'm not sure I really want to do it, but I'll see what happens, and maybe the boots will come back on again. Who knows?
Heard it here first. Well, let's go over now and let's listen to that interview.
So I've got Andrew Cave here from New Ravens Rugby League joining me to talk a bit about Masters Rugby League, something that I've been interested in for a while, but I must admit don't know a huge amount about. So how are you doing, Andrew?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the season ahead.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. So tell me a bit about, first of all, your history. And you live in the Midlands, but obviously you're a rugby league fan and you're into rugby league. So tell me a bit about your history in rugby league.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Leeds. I lived in Worcester since I was 15, but brought up in rugby league back in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Leeds fan. But played at grammar school. I was at a grammar school in Leeds, so never got to actually play rugby league. And to be honest, I was never actually up to it anyway.
Yeah.
Came down to Worcester when I was 15. Remained a bit of a league fan, but really difficult in those days from a distance.
Yeah.
I was involved when Worcester Saints started in the late 90s. I was dragged into that along with my brother, and we kick-started that off, which was great fun for a few years. And we actually played in the very first Coventry Bears.
Yeah, I played that game.
It was. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I scored 3 tries that day, I think.
The distance gets longer every time you tell the tale.
Yeah, but no, it was a great day. That I remember we nervously went down to Worcester for the game, not knowing what to expect, and it was a bit of history in the making.
Yeah, it was. It lasted a bit longer than Worcester Saints did. But we'd come out of Redditch Halcyons followed a year or two, and most of our lads had experience playing with them, including, Mike Hyde, of course. Bears, he's an old, one of the original Halcyons. He actually played for us in his first game for 30 years the other week, just before Christmas. Mike played.
Yeah, I saw that. I think he really enjoyed it, from what I gather. Yeah.
Still suffering, I think, from it.
Yeah.
He was shocked to the system after 30 years, but he really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But so we ran the Saints for a few years. That eventually folded, but Jason Spafford took up the mantle and started up the Redditch Ravens, as they were then.
Yeah.
Back in 2005, I think he started that.
Yeah.
That's been running on, become a good solid club. It's moved around for a few years at the Ravens. They had an established home at Kings Norton now for about 5 years, I think it is. It's got a good junior section as well as an A section. Now the Masters, and the Masters started about 5 years ago. Yeah. They just starting a one-off game, and then about 4 years ago, 2015, I got dragged along to a Masters game that they were holding there. Now, I'd never heard of Masters. I was told it was a reunion from the old Saints guys. Yeah. I'll go along, see some old mates. Got dragged into playing. Yeah. It was actually the first game of rugby league ever. Yeah. What on earth am I doing? Yeah. First game of rugby league at 55. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. That's who I haven't seen for years. My brother, it was actually his 50th birthday, and he hadn't told his wife what he was doing, but he was brilliant 50th birthday for him, and we had a great time. Met up with some of the old Halcyon lads, Saints lads, And I thought, this Masters rugby is brilliant.
Yeah.
I was playing with and against lads who are in their late 30s, who were, still pretty fit, but playing the right spirit, and then you're playing with blokes in the 60s.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I was first introduced to this, but how can this possibly work?
Yeah.
That's all it's supposedly a non-competitive rugby league. Well, that's just a contradiction in terms as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
There's no more competitive game in rugby.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really figure out how that was going to work. And then I was told about all these age groups. You've got blokes from the 30s, from 35 onwards, up into the 60s and the 70s, and you all wear different coloured shorts.
Yeah.
Miraculously, you all know how to tackle each other, and you don't bash the old guys, and respect them, and you don't actually bash each other very much either. And I thought, this is just stupid. How can this possibly work?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, the only way to find out is to actually try it. And I did, and I was absolutely hooked.
Yeah.
And that was March 2015. The next game was actually at Coventry. Coventry had a taster game in the spring. And then my next game was in Australia. I just happened to have booked on holiday to Australia. Just happened to coincide with the grand final. And I was out there at the same time as the Great Britain lads were taught.
Yeah.
And I managed to play for them in the mid-league.
Wow.
Played against an old Leeds legend, Chrissy Lyons.
Wow.
And Cliffy Lyons, rather, which was, just brilliant. And I thought, this is just surreal. You've got this game with all these old blokes managed to play together, fantastic spirit, and this is just absolutely fantastic. So when I came back from Australia, I got in touch with Jason and said, look, Jason, I really want to get involved with this. And he needed somebody to kickstart the Masters.
Yeah.
Because he does everything at the Ravens, and he just couldn't do that as well. So I picked up the mantle with the Masters at the Ravens, and we've been doing that for 3 years now. And it's been great. We play all over the place.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there's not much Midland competition for us, so we have to travel a bit. And the real aim at the moment is to get more teams going in the Midlands.
Yeah.
We've got a game at Nottingham on the 31st of March, and they're interested in playing. And starting up a Masters section at Nottingham. I'm not going to give up on the possibility of getting a team in Coventry going.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ex-league players around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a question of people. It's really a question of people trying it.
Yeah.
Once you had a go at it, rather than just read about it or hear about it, once you actually had a go, you realise how it works, how it's all based on having a laugh.
Yeah.
Bashing each other up. It's not about who can run the fastest or tackle the hardest. All that that's all secondary. It's all about having a good laugh with your mates.
Yeah.
And having the crack in the changing room, in the bar afterwards, even travelling on the minibus, all that stuff. That's what Masters is really all about.
Yeah. All sounds good to me. And I think for me anyway, the growth of the sport is not just about professional clubs or amateur open age clubs. It's about all the different variants of rugby league and getting people interested in it. So, getting a few Masters teams set up in the Midlands and giving you regular games would be great. I have to say, you've sort of said it already, but I've seen a few clips of Masters Rugby League, and even then I still don't necessarily fully understand it. But so from what I gather then, so the older guys wear different coloured shorts and you don't get tackled. You get tagged or touched, don't you, I think? And then... The older you get, the less contact you have. Yeah.
Basically, from 35 up to 50, it's tackling in a normal way, but you only tackle guys in the same age group in a normal way. There's rules that take out any risk or the most risk of injury. So you can't fend off players if you're attacking. You've got to surrender in the tackle.
Yeah.
So there's lots of modifications that just calm it down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not about who can run fastest or hit hardest.
Yeah.
So there's the modified rules, even though you're under 50. Then when you get to 50, you get into red shorts, and then you can only be tackled. You can only be grab tackled.
Yeah.
So it's only a question of stopping momentum, and you can tackle anybody in the same way, just a grab tackle. So you can stop a 35-year-old. You don't have to bring him to ground and risk getting hurt. As long as you've got good two-hand hold on them, they're tackled.
Yeah.
So you can safely tackle guys much younger and fitter than you without too much fear of injury. You can run and with reasonable confidence that you're not going to get seriously hurt by being tackled hard by somebody in their 30s because you respect the age groups.
Yeah.
And then when you get to 60, you're into gold shorts and tags. And that's so if you're over 60 to tackle somebody, you just have to touch them, which the big guys find very frustrating.
Yeah.
Which makes it all the more fun, of course.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against a team and they've got some monster in the team, and you're thinking, oh God, I don't want to go anywhere near him. You just put a gold shorts on him.
Yeah.
He gets a bit fed up.
Yeah.
But it means he has to pass the ball.
Yeah.
If you think about it, think about playing rugby rather than just running out into people. So it makes it gets it more interesting. And then if you're carrying the ball as a goal shorter, you have to have your tags taken off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're a pretty reasonably fit 60-year-old, it can be quite difficult to actually catch the tags.
Yeah.
And so it makes it more interesting. But it means then that once you're over your 60s, you don't have the fear of being hit or having or anything. You just have that being involved in the game.
Yeah.
And it's great to see blokes in their 60s and even into the 70s and 80s that are playing in a game with 30 and 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
In the middle of all the blood and thunder that's going on, relatively speaking, and you're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Yeah.
There's an occasional mishap. Inevitably, you got 20 odd blokes running around the pitch. You're going to bump into each other.
Yeah.
But in the main, you don't get any really serious injuries.
Yeah.
It's mainly just sprains and pulls because we don't warm up properly or staging.
Lack of fitness, but Yeah.
It's if you don't ache after a game, well, you haven't tried hard enough.
No.
But it's what I call a good ache because you think, oh, lad, that's been a good crack.
Yeah.
And, so you're aching the next day, you don't care. But it's the age groups they're all designed to make it safe.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wear that colour either. If you're carrying injuries, so you've got a shoulder injury or your knees are dodgy, or you're just not really that sure about getting involved with the contact stuff, you can wear gold shorts.
Yeah.
I've worn gold shorts for the last couple of years because I had a knee problem and a shoulder problem.
Yeah.
I'm only still in my late 50s, but if you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear black.
Yeah.
About that, it's all about getting involved.
Yeah.
So you will get blokes in the 30s and 40s and the 50s who will wear gold shorts because they're carrying injury or because they've never played rugby before and they don't know how to tackle and but they want to get on the pitch and have a good laugh so they can play as well. And the stigma to that, nobody cares.
Yeah.
What's important is that you're all having a good time.
Yeah, fun.
And it's a really good way of introducing people into Masters. Say, look, you don't have to worry about tackles. Yeah, you see all these blokes bashing into each other and stuff. Don't worry about that. If you want to sort of pace yourself into the game, put some gold shorts on. You then, if you're under 16, you don't wear the tag, so it's just touch for you. But you're involved in the game, you can see how it goes. And there's a lot of people who will start that. You get blokes under 50 will start in red shorts just to get a measure of it. Blokes in the 50s will start in gold because they're not quite sure about the contact. And then they move to their appropriate age colour. Yeah. Become more confident. Yeah. So it's a really good way of getting people into the game. And you were saying about all types of rugby are important, not just the standard open age. Well, I mean, to me, I don't understand why every rugby league club doesn't have a masters section. Yeah. It brings people into the club in a way that no other section does. Yeah. A lot of our guys are involved in the juniors. We have parents that brought their kids along. They've seen the masters game or we've talked them into it. They try masters, and they're mainly union guys rather than league guys, and it's brilliant. Yeah. So they're introduced into it. We have coaches who come along to play and then become junior coaches. It keeps once the open age players retire, they can come into masters and sustain them. Yeah. It makes it into much more of a community club rather than just an open age team, and that's what's making the Ravens so special. Yeah. We've literally got players from the age of 3 up to, I think our oldest at the moment is 68. Yeah. And they're all part of the Ravens family. Yeah. When we started off the master section, we called it the Halcyons because because that was the start of the club was the Halcyons back in the 80s, and we've still got some of those old original Halcyons players. And we've this year we've dropped the Halcyons name because we want to really promote the Ravens name, and so we're now the Ravens Masters.
Yeah.
Keeping the same Halcyon shirts, using the colours.
Yeah.
And we've still got that Halcyons heritage.
Yeah.
It gives the club a great heart to know that we've got a junior section with the little kids starting at 3. We've got in our open age team we've got lads who came through our junior ranks.
Yeah.
And now in our masters we've got guys who came from the open age, and it's what I would therefore call a proper club.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Rome. If you go, people talk about there's only rugby league up north. Well, that's nonsense. There's rugby league all over the place.
Yeah.
But there's very few proper community clubs outside of Scotland.
Yeah.
London Scholars have got it going down there, and there's one or two others around. We're a bit short of that in the Midlands.
Yeah.
For various reasons. Not a criticism, it's just the way it's developed.
Yeah.
So we at Ravens are very keen to develop that community feel, and we're hoping that the other clubs around will start to grow as well. They're growing the same way. We've had a bit of a head start because we've started really from the 80s.
Yeah.
But there's teams like Birmingham and Leamington around, and they're really just open age teams. But they will grow into more community clubs.
Yeah.
Coventry Bears are doing it right.
Yeah.
They're growing slowly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way to really grow rugby league. It's frustrating for old guys like me thinking, when is rugby league going to become the sport it deserves to be? And it's so slow to grow anything.
Yeah.
But the way that Alan has done it at Coventry Bears it's a real credit to see. He's keeping it real.
Yeah.
He's not spending a fortune that he hasn't got. And he's growing slowly.
Yeah.
Developing in the junior sections. Getting the open age is becoming more established, and you go to Bears games and it feels like a proper rugby league game. It's a proper crowd, and it's great. It's a great experience.
I think for me, everything that you said about the community clubs and getting a proper club going, that's just fantastic. But I think I see the Bears as, for people who start off in a community club and want to play higher level rugby league, the Bears gives lads in the Midlands who are good enough an opportunity to do that. And we just need a bit more strength and depth across the Midlands. I think in the early 90s there was a bit of an explosion of clubs starting up everywhere really, across the Midlands, but most of them, in honesty, were just rugby union clubs playing a few games in the summer. Not many went on to be actual proper bona fide clubs. But there is a few good, few outposts in the Midlands still, and there's a lot of people playing rugby league, and there's a lot of interest in it. So, yeah.
I think the double header in the Four Nations a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the Rico.
Yeah.
20,000 people, and the majority had West Midlands postcode.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just shows the interest is there in the Midlands.
Yeah.
It's, as always about the structure.
Yeah.
And the problem with these clubs that have been and gone is that they nearly always revolve around one or two people.
Yeah.
And there's no succession, if you like.
Yeah.
Stayed at the Bears. Obviously had Ron Banks there as well. That's grown, through that. But the trick is to have that succession and to also expand.
Yeah.
So it's not just a one-man club.
Yeah. I think every club's built on its volunteers. That's the bottom line. Whether they're professional or whether they're, the community clubs, you have to have dedicated volunteers. And I guess that's one thing the Bears have been good at over the years, is having people interested in keeping the Bears name going. Obviously, Al is the driving force behind it all. And it'd be similar at the Ravens. The Ravens obviously continuing to do great work, and having the juniors set up and all the way up to masters takes volunteers dedicating time to do it, and for the love of the game, really. So
It is,
yeah.
but the great thing is that, we all become friends as well.
Yeah.
There's a really good friendly spirit within the Ravens. We've got, I don't know, if you like, mums and
Yeah.
partners who are, who will do the catering, do the first aid,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all part of what we call the Ravens family.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky to have that. And then the Masters has become like an extension of that. But it also means it's a means of growth as well within the
Yeah.
because you're bringing in new people who otherwise wouldn't get involved. And it's a brilliant way to go into.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that's still holding it back, really, going back to Masters, what's holding it back with a lot of clubs is really sort of feel like a lack of imagination with some of the clubs, or a lack of understanding what it can bring to you.
Yeah.
Nottingham, I think, now tweet, they recognise that Masters is a great way of growing there. I mean, Nottingham now got their own ground.
Yeah.
They've got to fill it, they've got to use it.
Yeah.
And they can only have so many open age games in a year, so many junior games. Well, now they recognise that actually Masters is another way of getting lots of guys in the bar on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
But it goes from there. So we're really pleased that Nottingham have agreed to pick this up, and we're going to end 31st of March.
Well, I hope personally in sort of 5 to 10 years' time that we'll see loads of Masters clubs or Masters teams dotted around the Midlands and around the country, because the way you've described it, it's it sounds like a fantastic way for people who maybe have always had an interest in rugby league, or people who have played it and don't play anymore, or people who just want to try a new sport. Sounds like a fantastic way of doing that.
It is. You see people who've never. There's quite a few guys who've had that's why just not played sort of rugby league before, but haven't played really much sport at all, mate.
Yeah.
Say football guys.
Yeah.
And they've always seen rugby. Oh, go and do that. Don't fancy that.
Yeah.
But actually, Masters give you a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And you're in the thick of it, but you're reasonably safe.
Yeah.
Especially once you get to the gold shorters. And then you become part of what we all call the rugby league family.
Yeah.
And then you understand why it is such a special day. Now, I'm not going to disrespect the Union. The Union don't have the Masters concept. They have most clubs have that.
Yeah.
But they just carry on playing normal rugby union.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it gives you something a little bit different and it's a bit special.
Yeah.
We have lots of ex-rugby union guys who always fancied playing a bit of rugby league, but never did for whatever reason, because we went up north. But now it gives them a chance to have a go at it.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys who didn't want to play rugby union vets because it's just too damn tough. Because they just carry on playing the same rules. Well, you can have a go at the league, and you can keep you keep putting the boots on, you get in your changing rooms with the lads in the bar afterwards. You have that same crack that you missed.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about being beaten up on the pitch.
It all sounds fantastic. I'm really pleased that we've had this chat, and I hope that people in the Midlands or particularly in who live fairly close to New Ravens, who want to give it a go, will give it a chance, and hopefully, as I say, we'll see more Masters teams set up over the next few years. It's really great. I mean, on the podcast, we always want to talk to people involved in rugby league in the Midlands, and it's great to hear someone like yourself so passionate about the game and wanting to move it forward. So it's been a real pleasure to speak to Andrew.
Yeah, well, can I just make the last plug?
Yes, absolutely.
Our first game of the season is going to be on our first home game of the season is on the 23rd of March at Kings Norton Rugby Club. We play just behind Hupwood Services, just off the M42. So that's our first home game. If anybody wants to come and have a look and see what Masters looks like.
Well, I may well come along whenever there's not a Bears game on. I don't know about having a go. I might have to do a bit more thinking about that. But yeah,
Bring your boots, put some gold shorts.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, Thanks, Andrew. Cheers.
Okay, great stuff there, Craig. Talking about the new Ravens Masters Rugby League, and yeah, look forward to seeing if it does tempt you into putting your boots on and getting out on the pitch again. Because I know you've been tearing it up in tri-tag, so
finally, yeah, it took me a few months to start getting fit again, but yeah, we've got a decent team, the Bears Necessities tri-tag Rugby League team. We've got another ex-Bears player in the lineup as well, Matt Salty Wright. So yeah, we're doing well.
Good stuff. Talking good stuff, let's bring it back onto the Bears. 1 win out of 1 so far. Newcastle Thunder in town next Sunday the 24th of February. Again, 3 p.m. kickoff at the Butts Park Arena. It's going to be a different challenge to what we've seen here today, but Bears won. Newcastle lost at home yesterday. There's every reason for Bears to be confident, isn't there?
Yeah, so I watched Newcastle Doncaster yesterday. First half, Newcastle, I think, were winning something like 22-6 or 22-4. I thought they looked phenomenal. You know, this is going to be a real challenge for the Bears playing for them. And then Doncaster came out second half firing and completely blew them away and ended up winning the game. So Newcastle looked solid. I mean, they've got ex-Super League players in their lineup. Liam Finn is a fantastic player. You know, it will be a tough game for the Bears, no doubt. The Newcastle pack as well looked absolutely massive, but will they be as fit as the Bears pack? I'm not sure. We'll have to see about that. Doncaster seemed to, in the second half, have more fitness than Newcastle, so we'll see what happens. I'm confident. You know, the lads will definitely take some confidence from today's result, and I'm thinking most games here at home this year, the Bears are going to definitely be a tough proposition to play against, and I have every faith that the guys can go out there and get the result.
Good stuff. And of course, the game last season when Newcastle came to Coventry, first half Newcastle ran away with it a bit, but second half Bears actually beat them over the course of the second 40 minutes of the game. So yeah, lots of reasons to be positive and lots of reasons for all of you guys to come down to the Butts Park Arena and cheer the Bears on and watch that game. It's the last home game for a while, a couple of games away after that. So do make the most of your chance to come and watch some rugby league while the month of February is still here. 3 p.m. kickoff next Sunday at the Butts Park Arena. We, of course, will be there to get all the reaction and bring that to you, so make sure you subscribe. You can find all the links at covbearspodcast.com, and thanks again to York's Tim for sponsoring us. Craig, I like opening days of the season that go this well. I'm looking forward to this year, I think. 1
game, 1 win. I can certainly live with that, and I think it took us quite a while to get going last year, so that's a fantastic start to the season, and I'm very, very optimistic about the months to come.
Yeah, this is it. The Bears are coming. We'll see you next week.